Hello everybody! Welcome to another video from ngOnChanges with Profanis. In this video, we will see how to dynamically create a component using Angular, and we will also see how to create multiple components dynamically based on a configuration file. So, let's get started. I have a small application where we have the widget 1 and widget 2, and both of them, they are standalone components. Widget 1 and also see what we have in widget 2. Yeah, the same here. This is a standalone component as well. Let's see how to dynamically create them. Into the app component HTML, where currently this is empty, I will create an ng container and I will define a template reference variable. I will name this container. Then we have to go into the app component.ts and I will use the view child, where I will define the container, and I need here to have some options. The first one is that I want to have the read to be view container f. This tells Angular that I want the return type of the container to be of a container f. And also this is my name, container. Let's close this, we no longer need this. And the type is view container f. Nice. I will now create a method, create component. And of course, I need this method to be invoked by a button. So what we have to do inside the create component is to use the view container f. I will tell Angular that, you know what, I want in this container to create a component. And here we have to provide the component type. And we currently have two different components, the widget 1 and the widget 2. Let's try and create first the first one, which is the widget 1 component. And as is, let's go to the browser to see what we have. If I click now the button create, we can see here that we have the widget 1 and we do not have anything into the name. We will see this shortly. How about if I click once more this button? Oh, we have widget 1 once more. What we have to do is to clear the container before we invoke the create component method. And now, similar to this line, we can do the same for the widget 2. And again, if we go to the browser, we will see that if we click create, we have the widget 1 and widget 2. This is the first approach of how to dynamically create a component. And if you remember, into the widget 1 and into the widget 2, we have an input. How can we provide the input? Let's keep the reference here of the create component, and I will be like const, this is the widget 1, so widget 1 ref equals, and then I can be like widget 1 ref into the instance, I'm going to provide the name, and the name will be Profanis. And I will do the same for the second component. So const widget 2 ref equals this. And then into the widget 2 ref, the instance name will be Profanis. Now let's go to the browser to see what we have. If I click create, we can see that we have here name Profanis and name Profanis. This works just fine. But you know what? Let's go to the widget 1 component and I will implement the method onChanges, which we know that the onChanges method triggers whenever we provide a new input. And I will just have here a console log, changes are happen. Okay, so we expect when we create the component, we expect to see this message, the changes are happen into the console. So let's open the developer tools, zoom in a bit, and click the create button. And we do not see anything here. The problem with this approach is that this is the old way of providing the inputs into the component. The new one is to use the method setInput. And here we can be like, I want to set the input name and I have the value Profanis. And of course, let's do the same here. Now again, if we click the button create, now we can see that here we have the changes are happening. Nice. So this is how we can dynamically create a component. Can we do the same based on a configuration file? Let's give it a try. I will create a components config JSON where this will contain an array, and each array will have a component, and this is going to be an arrow function where we'll return an import where we have to define the path. I'm going to have the widget1 component, and this is a promise, so I'm going to have the widget1 component. And we can even give it a try to provide some inputs. And this time I will use a key value pair. I know that the input is name, so I will provide the value profanis. And let's do the same for the other component. So this is the widget2 component, and again here widget2 and widget2. And we have the same name, but you know what, let's have a differentiation. This is the widget1 profanis, and this is the widget2 profanis. I will keep this method, and I will create another one, and the name will be create components based on config. What we have to do is to iterate over the configuration file, which is the components config file. I will use a for each method, and I know that this is my component config, and we know that in the component config we have this component, which is a promise. So we can simply await for this promise to finish, and we need definitely to have an async here. And as soon as we have here the component, we know that this is our component instance. Having the component instance, we can now use this line. So let's copy this and paste it here and replace the component instance in the create component. And this is the component ref. Since our configuration will have also some inputs, I guess that we can iterate over the inputs and give these inputs into the component. And for this one, since this is a key value pair, I will use the object entries. And this is my component config dot inputs. And again, using a for each, I know that the first argument will be a key and the second one will be a value. Oops, here I need to have a comma. And now, similar to this method, the setInput, I will copy this. We can use the component ref setInput, providing here the key and also providing the value. So let's now go to the app component HTML and replace the method, this one. And what we expect to happen is that as soon as we click the button, we expect to have two different components with the inputs into the template. If I click the create button, we can see that we have the widget1 and the input is widget1 profanis, and here we have the widget2. So this is how we dynamically create components using the create component method, and also very important to use the new method setInput, which is part of Angular 14. So that was it. Thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe and click the ring bell. See you in the next video.